is a superstition.
And here you look back.
I am a false prophet. God is a superstition. I am a false prophet. God is a superstition.
I am a false prophet. God is a superstition.
stands for censorship and book bans. MAGA stands for firing air traffic controllers while planes are crashing. MAGA stands for firing the people overseeing our nuclear arsenal. MAGA stands for firing military veterans and those serving them at the VA, including canceling research on veteran suicide. MAGA stands for cutting funds to education, including for disabled children. MAGA is profoundly corrupt, unmistakably anti-democracy, and most importantly, MAGA is explicitly a Nazi movement. You may have replaced a swastika with a red hat, that is what it is. I will now engage in the time-honored American tradition of peaceful civil disobedience.
When you look at the photographs and the pictures and the videos that come from there, and you hear the screams of people screaming as the Israeli government burned men, women and children alive. They burned them alive. And the world stands by while 15,000 children are being slaughtered, 35,000 men and women and children. And it's unbelievable, the genocide that's happening. A child with no head, and the Israeli government say it's a mistake. I hope that Benjamin Netanyahu burns in hell the same way them children and their families burned. I hope him and his generals and the far-right government in Israel, that when their God finally brings him to the resting place, that he deserves to burn in hell.
steals from me, I cut off his hands. He offends me, I cut out his tongue. He rises against me, I cut off his head, stick it on a pike. Raise it high up so no one in the streets can see. It's what preserves the order of things. Fear.
Humans tend to group people on the inside and on the outside in order to maintain group identity and social cohesion. It's a never-ending process, and that can bring us into a dangerous, vicious cycle because as humans, we have a natural tendency to transfer blame, which means scapegoats are all around us.
Searches for the remains of these lost children are happening across the country. Generations of Indigenous children suffered physical and sexual abuse inside the boarding schools. They were established by the Canadian government and initially run by the Catholic Church. Canada's Truth and Reconciliation Commission investigated residential schools, and in a 2015 report concluded that many children died from malnourishment, disease, and suicide.
This was a deliberate act to colonize, to extinguish the Indian and the child. That's a direct quote.
A mastery of words.
This was planned, it was callous, and abuse and death were not.
presence to the world like us. They are somebodies, not some things. In these fundamental ways, the non-human animals in labs and on farms, for example, are the same as human beings. And so it is that the ethics of our dealings with them and with one another must rest on some of the same fundamental points.
Almost 50% of all weapons on the planet. There is no other country that parallels. It's sick. The blood is on our hands. I don't know how we can ever recover. I don't know how humanity can ever recover from what we've collectively allowed to happen in Gaza. And for people to say, oh, it's just far away, we have nothing to do with it, couldn't be further from the truth. It's a U.S.-Israeli genocide. And it's pushed and propped up by U.S. defense contractors. And they profit off every bullet and every bomb that's dropped on those babies.
Evangelical American voters in the Republican Party want a final conflict with all other religions, all other political points of view. They see it as us versus them, true Christians versus everyone else.
Nation shall rise up against nation, and as we see these things increase in intensity and frequency, we can know that the Lord is going to return.
We don't want peace, we being evangelicals. We want Armageddon. Bring it on. Their view of Zionism is not going to either help Israel or any individual Jew. Their view of Zionism is apocalyptic.
protest the police state that Donald Trump is attempting to build before our eyes. A police state uses its power to crush dissent, to terrorize the populace, to force them to submit to its political will. It is a perversion of the policing power. And for the past year, we have watched the federal government, particularly the law enforcement aspects of it, transform under Trump, as armed federal agents push into communities into accepting his whims or suffering the consequences. We have now masked secret police who have shot 2 nonviolent protesters dead in the streets while people recorded on their cameras. They good, now it's criminal. We still don't even know the identities of some of those agents who work for the government who shot and killed them. Instead today, we got the President of the United States calling the man who was shot and killed on the street a quote agitator and perhaps insurrectionist.
Palestinians are aware that they have been abandoned, that the world that speaks of human rights and international law is lying, that those concepts are meant for white people or for Westerners, that accountability is not meant to hold their oppressors to account, that they have been really kind of discarded. The West has spent decades creating this rules-based order, and it's finally been laid bare as a big sham, as just a way to further Western interests. This is the jungle. Is this the new order, where it's just out in the open that those with power can do whatever they want?